Today I'm going to be sticking one of these pads on my ARC. I used the ARC adhesive they sent me for sticking the motor mounts on the bottom of the boat with, but I've used, before I got that, I used this product, which is from the rib store, and it consists of the cleaner, which is solvent cleaner for UPV boats, and like a sort of a primer, and then you've got the PVC adhesive and like the catalyst, the curing agent. I made, when I was doing all these other bits, I made this chisel, filed it down and made it all nice and round so it wouldn't damage the boat, so I could push the actual so I could push this into it. So I'm going to be sticking one of these D-rings on. I stuck one on 4, but what I want to do is I want to put a X on here and strap it down. I'm missing one here, so today I'm going to be doing that. So I've got a pen, which is a tiny little white pen, and it does work quite well. You draw around, and when you warm the actual the pad and the surface up when the adhesive's on there, so when you come to stick it, it disappears. So I got a syringe up to 10mm, so I'm probably only going to be using about 10mm of this, a little pot and some masking tape, and I'm going to do 2 around the other way, but I'll cut the video up and see. They recommend, well, they say the mixing instructions is 20 parts adhesive, so 20 parts of this to 1 part curing agent. I'm going 20mm of the solution to 1 part curing agent, which is this. But first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm also 220 grade sandpaper, which is like a wet and dry one. I use this for polishing stone with in my trade. So I'm also going to like sand that down. So I'm just going to go through the process now, because people seem to think that it's hard to do this, but it's not actually that hard after you've done a few. So the video might help people what are doing this. So first of all, I'm going to clean up both areas, one around the other side and one here, but I'm just going to keep the camera on here, and I'll split it up. This solution with this solvent based stuff, so we'll start now. So I bought these brushes cheap off of eBay and cut them off so they're a bit more stubbier. Right, so I've got this J cloth, which I'm just going to clean these both areas up with, and it does actually really clean this surface well, but I wouldn't advise it to do it too much, because it does actually make the surface sticky. So obviously it's got some sort of solvent in it which melts a very fine foul of this material, which is carbon material. It's only how I've done it and how I've seen it on the internet. So we'll put that to one side up behind me on the step, and that's nice and clean. So the next step I want to do is determine where I'm going to put these. Well, I'm going to put it about there, because that'll be enough for, let me show you, enough for one of these boxes to sit on top, so I can put straps from here onto these D-rings, so it's nice and solid with a tiny bit of rubber underneath. So that's the box I'm going to be using. I'm also going to be doing one on the other side. So the best thing is also to clean the actual two pads as well. Where's the other pad? There's the other pad. I'll put that over there. So they're really nice and clean. As you can see here, this is really clean. So this is the way I do it, is locate the spot we actually want to glue the D-ring on, and this pen, we just draw a very light circle round 2 places, and then it's not going to get too messy. Then we can restrict it to, I think you can just about see that, restrict that to that line. And then what I do is I'm going to just keep breaking bits of this off and just leave it probably 1 mil from the edge. This is just normal low tack masking tape, and this just helps me just to keep it all nice and clean. Doing up, not to push it in. Don't push the tape, don't rub the tape in too much. You need to rip it off when you put it on. Put it back on. It just helps to keep it nice and clear. I'm no specialist at this, by the way. Just thought I'd say. Just a person like you, or you know, everybody else on the internet, just out to learn. If this can help people do this, then brilliant. That's a good job done, and this video will obviously stay out there for a long time, being seen by a lot of people what will find it useful. This does take a little bit of time. You can, like, you know, put it on and carefully draw around it, but I like to just like to plaster it all on, and you know. Also, I'm going to use a heat gun, just a normal. I'll show you that in a moment. I'll finish tacking these on. There we go. Well, that's the basic circle around here. And this is the heat gun I'm going to use. It's just a normal Black & Decker decorating heat gun, just to warm it up. So that's that bit there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly sand the area. It's just to scratch the surface of the PVC, so it really gives the actual adhesive, PVC adhesive, a really good bonding to this surface. I'm also going to make sure it's all like properly done. So we're going to give this a bit of a scratch as well. You know, you can see the shininess, and what you want to do is dull it so it's loses that shiny surface. Okay. Okay, so I've got rid of all the shiny surface there. That's nice. So when the adhesive goes onto that, it will really bond well. Now, what I like to do is just with the little bit of liquid left on the cloth, just give it just a bit of a wipe, and the bit just gets all the dust off it. So still got the scratches on there, which we need. Okay, so the next step is to, now we've got this and this prepared. This is a little cheap yogurt pot scratch, and you can get this open. So like I said before, I'm going to use 20 mil, so that's 20 parts of this to 1 part of the curing agent. So let's just squeeze that out now. I can find my knife. Okay, right. Let's give this a take 20 mil of this. We get a dust sheet. Dust sheet over there. The temperature at the moment is about 10 degrees. Don't know what the recommendation for the temperature is on this, but I'm sure it's the warmer the better, but not exceeding a certain temperature. So let's put that over there. Okay, so I'm going to take 20 mil of this. So I'll just suck up to 10 mil and another 10 mil. So we've got 2 10s. Okay, there's 10 mil. In fact, yeah, I'm going to do 20 mil and another one. That's our 20 mil. I'll put the top straight back on. This is actually going to have to have 2 coats of this. There's a bench, looks like it's going to be falling over. Right, let's see if we can do this in a civil manner. I'm actually going to tip a bit. I'm actually going to tip a bit into the lid because it's easier to. It's actually easier to suck out with the syringe. Let's put that on there, and just want 1 mil of that. Okay, that's our 1 mil. Let's tip that back in. Over there. Right. So our 1 mil. Let's put that in there. I'm probably going to disregard this and just use another one on another mix. Not unless it's good enough. Now I've just got these little spoons. Just going to mix that up. It's all thoroughly mixed. Probably for about a minute. Okay, that's been probably about a minute. So wipe that off. And then all we do is just go in from the outside to the inside. Put a nice generous layer on. Don't miss any. Nice generous layer on there. And on the once all this is on, we're going to give it about 15 minutes for it to be touch dry, and we're going to apply a second coat. After about 20 minutes. That's that. I'll put that on the dust sheet. So I'm going to leave that for about 20 minutes and come back. Okay, that's now touch dry on both bits. So after about 20 minutes, I've mixed up some more, and I'm going to give it a second coat. Probably this one, just probably a thin coat. There you go, a nice thin, generous thin coat. So on this, just working from the inside out, so it's all around the edges as well. I'm actually going to accelerate this up. This second coat I'm going to accelerate up very slightly. Just with this warm heat. From a distance, if you put your hand in front and it's just nice and warm, that's fine. Don't put any closer, because that's not going to do it any good. So I'm going to warm this up. It is touch dry. And this as well. That's completely touch dry. The idea also is to warm this rubber up so it's nice and pliable, it's not so stiff. So now what we can do, And grab our pointed. You can use a boon handle, as long as it's not sharp, and then we just pop it into position, making sure that's exactly where we want it, and then just press that around in the middle first, and then pushing out these little pushing out strokes. Okay, get it in position first. You can push it hard, obviously don't slip off and damage your boat. Okay, so what I'm going to do now at this stage, it's in position, then I'm going to go anymore. I'm going to pull that off and then work that, make sure it's pushed right onto the actual the boat itself. Because what you're really doing with this is just allowing it to be touch dry. Okay, and this normally takes about 24 to 48 hours to cure, so you can actually then use it in the water and it won't be affected by the water. So, and that's really good enough. Push them on, that's really good. What I'm going to do now, okay, now that's on there nicely and all like firm and quite actually hard. I'm not going to pull it at the moment. What we need to do now is just to get a very clean cloth with this solution, and then just clean that off. More. There you go, and there you have a nice ring stuck on the tube, which will last forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just hope it helped. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.